city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, topics, stipulations, first down, played it. Presenting topics for Kanye to Tom Brady. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. How's everybody's bracket looking so far? I know my bracket kind of took a big hit. Are you all right over there? You're coughing like you're choking like some of these teams yesterday.
No, there wasn't.
Belmont specifically, the one team that is a huge heartbreaker for us because we were big fans of them going forward and maybe a Sweet 16 Cinderella possibly. But let's talk about. You talk about all the great games yesterday. There were some good moments, but there was a great moment, and it was right down the street, too. It was in our own backyard. It was in Hartford, Connecticut. And for all the people that went to those games yesterday, you got to see some good ones, but you got to see a star. You had, some people might say, the best player in college basketball, and Ja Morant. Boy, did he show and prove to everybody why he should be a top 3 pick and why his future looks very bright. A triple-double in the NCAA tournament. And like I said, anybody that was in Hartford yesterday and got to watch him play, you got to see a treat. You got to see a superstar. A guy that can possibly pull a Steph Curry-esque run maybe, lead his team to an Elite Eight. You don't know, but he is that talented and that good, Ted. And we just watched the highlights a little while ago.
Yeah, and we know this.
He's quite impressive.
We know this kid, Ja Morant, is top of the line right now. I mean, he's the top 2, top 3 pick in the NBA coming draft. We didn't know Steph Curry was going to be what he is now in the NBA. And, you know, you look at his stats yesterday, triple-double.
Yeah.
It's rarely done in college basketball, especially
ninth player
of all time. I mean, you look at some of the guys of all time. Oscar Robertson, Magic Johnson,
Dwayne Wade, Draymond Green,
Shaquille O'Neal. You know,
it's a pretty good list.
It's an elite company. He did it against a team, though, I would say, in Marquette that's struggling and doesn't play great defense.
But I'm going to come back to you with this. And we talked about it last night. Yes, Marquette was coming into the tournament struggling and an overseeded 5 seed. I think me and you could both agree on it that they were overseeded.
You got to compare it to the team that they were compared to, and most likely would be Villanova, who won the Big East regular season and won the tournament, and they were a 6 seed. Listen, you could make the argument that Villanova could be a 4 seed in this. So Marquette, in this tournament, but I think
go ahead.
And not to change the way, but I think like yesterday's first game of the day when Minnesota versus Louisville, I think the NCAA won't admit to it, but they like the storyline, and it was something that it was brought up multiple times on multiple networks. The Marcus Howard versus Ja Morant point guard matchup. You know, 2 stellar, great point guards. Ja Morant, of course, is going to be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft. Marcus Howard will not be, but I mean, as an elite college player, averaging 25 points, had multiple 40-point games this year.
He had a 50-point game.
He had 2 50-point games, I believe, or close to it.
He had a great year. But like you just said, yes, Marquette was coming into this tournament, beaten up, injured, their best player injured, and not coming in on the right direction. But Ja Morant and this Murray State team, let's not forget, Marquette was a top 20, top 15, almost top 10 team throughout this season. And they got beat down, specifically in the second half. This Murray State team kept going, kept turning forward, and you saw Marquette take a sit back. They were only down by 7. And then Murray State just completely opened it up. And that's all credited. Well, first of all, the guys are making their shots.
That's key.
Ja Morant's stats maybe not as great if his teammates don't make his shots, but he ends up with a triple-double because of everything you demonstrate as a great point guard nowadays.
And I'll make the statement, yes, that was a 12-5 upset, but I don't really look at it as an upset. And I know we were talking this yesterday. We went to our dad's friend's house, Brian O'Connor's in Woodbridge, and we watched the games in the barn.
Yeah, it was great.
He had all the TV set up.
It was 4-5. I felt like we were at like a bar.
It's better than being a bar because we had our own bar. We didn't have to pay the bartender to get my beer. I got it when I needed to. But yesterday, if I want to look at it as a whole day too, is Ja Morant. That was one big story. It was beautiful that it was in Hartford, the XL Center. You got to see a you don't get to see certain players like this home in Connecticut. They're always playing away. I think the only bigger story would have been if Duke got to play in Hartford.
I would have paid. I would have
paid to see that. Now that would be something I would pay to see, because I've always said I would have loved to be able to sit courtside at an NBA game and see like LeBron James or one of these great players play, just to see how big they are and how smooth and how fast and how nimble they are to move along the court. But I look at yesterday as a quiet day. There wasn't many upsets. There were 2 10-7s, which you said yesterday to Uncle Tommy. I don't really look at those upsets because
yes, they're 10s and they beat a 7, and it looks like.
But when you look at Seton Hall and Warford, do you really look at Seton Hall as a 10 like that much worse than Warford? No. Seton Hall is still in the Big East and
was
Warford's
one of the
in
hottest
Southern
teams coming
Conference.
into the tournament. And then even the 12-5 matchup. I mean, that happens every year.
There was 2 10-7s,
but that happens every year. That happens every year when you see the 5-12. That's become a norm for the NCAA tournament. And an overseeded 5-seeded Marquette and a Murray State team that's getting hot at the right time. So do we really consider them any upsets? But I'm glad you brought up the Duke point, because you look at the 2 best players in college basketball. I think we should change the narrative that RJ Barrett is not the second best player in college basketball.
I want to see how RJ Barrett performs in this tournament.
We should say that.
We might be changing the narrative, Trev.
Ted, we might be saying that Ja Morant might be the best player in college basketball right now.
Let's see what he can do in the tournament before we finalize that.
I mean, hey, that Florida State game, very interesting. We'll get to see how great he really is.
First of all, how serious do you take today's game, Duke versus a 16 seed?
Well, you just look at Duke's body of work this entire season, and you've looked at Zion and how dominant he's been since coming back from injury. What injury? I mean, it looks like this guy's never been hurt. And then RJ Barrett's kind of been taking a step back. Ja Morant's been doing it. So we talk about Ja Morant, we talk about Zion. We've been talking about Zion all year and how great he is. And we know that Zion's going to be possibly the number 1 pick. Most definitely will be, probably, right? Most definitely.
Not even.
I think it's
100%.
Most definitely will be the number 1 pick. But then who's the number 2 pick? Is it Ja Morant? Is it RJ Barrett? Ja Morant should be the 2nd pick. But who would work better and whose game would translate better into the NBA is the more interesting question. Yes, Zion is unlike anything we've seen in college basketball, but Ja Morant's game is more fit for the NBA now than Zion's is.
I think they both have key factors of being great. Zion's great because he doesn't need to play with the ball. You notice that when he watches with Duke, a lot of times it's not like he's a ball dominant forward or guard, and we're not relating him as a guard, but he doesn't need the ball like RJ Barrett needs the ball to score. Zion does a lot of his work on second chance points, rebounds, and just
transition,
and just being a better, more athletic, freakish athlete compared to everyone else on the court. So, we've talked about the possibility of Zion. It would be a great story for him to go to the Knicks. If they got guys like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, it would be a perfect fit because Kyrie's a ball-dominant guy. Zion can play off the wing. And imagine them coming on a fast break with Kevin Durant on one side to shoot the 3, Zion crashing the boards with an alley-oop, and Kyrie with the ball in his hands. And nobody's better in the NBA controlling and handling the ball than Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, he's got one.
He's
got some of the best hands.
It's amazing. Boy, I wish I had those
skills in the game. No, I wasn't going to continue with this. I was going to let you finish off this because, I was just talking about it in the tournament aspect. Yesterday, that guy, Ja Morant, you saw out of any other teams yesterday that played, how significant one player and a star player like him could take over.
Well, it helps that his team was making shots. I mean, are we really talking about if his team's not making shots and they lose? I mean, he might have had a great game, but not a triple-double if his teammates don't help him out.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, Steve. The Knicks, if anyone has the number 1 pick, Zion has to be the number 1 pick. But Ja Morant is making a case.
It's Ja, not John Morant. Ja
Rule. Yeah.
Hey, it's funny you said that because
Ja rules. That was the headline.
He did. He dominated the headlines in Connecticut in sports, and he dominated
I'll just make this statement.
He ruled yesterday.
That's why I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's game when they play Florida State, a team that has great length, great size throughout. They go 10 deep, and they're one of the best defenses in the country. And Leonard Williams, as the coach of Florida State, has his team rolling, and that's a team that a lot of people have going to the Elite Eight. So if he can have those similar numbers against this Florida State team, and they win and they can pull off that upset, that will speak even greater value to who he is as a player and to the team, and make your point even more so that he might be the best pick going forward in the NBA.
But back to the point is why he could be better is because, well, we look at the NBA now and it's dominated by guards. Whether it's a 2-guard or a point guard, it's dominated by athletic guards. And let's look. Russell, two guys that really maybe have comparisons to Ja Morant, and you could put Alonzo Ball's vision passing. Now, I'm not saying Alonzo Ball is better than Ja Morant, but you look at his vision. Boy, his vision's special. You look at him in transition. You see his athletic ability, like a Russell Westbrook, a Derrick Rose. He's a better shooter than them, better free throw shooter. I mean, right now, you look at his stats. He's averaged 24, 6 rebounds, and 10 assists on 50% from the field. The way the NBA is going now, you have to think that Ja Morant, wherever he goes, will succeed. Whereas Zion probably could have been better and maybe 10 years ago when big men.
No, he that's the complete opposite.
When big men were.
He's not a big man. He's 6'7".
I mean,
Zion's Williams.
He's 285. We consider him a big guy.
better in the NBA now than he did 10 years ago. 100. You're completely off on that one. Because today's game, there is no such thing as a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the point guard is the 1, the shooting guard is a 2, small forward is 3. Now the game is become, like Houston plays, a spread open, kind of like football, run and shoot. There is no position.
But that's where Ja Morant would excel.
Eliminated.
But Ja Morant would excel more.
No.
You don't think he would excel more than Zion?
He fits the prototype guards that are coming into the league.
What do our fans and followers think?
Think about this. When the Lakers played this year, LeBron James at 6'8" played center, and they had Kuzma and Ingram with Josh Hart and Lonzo Ball, and they went 5 guards, pretty much. You could put and LeBron's a center.
Handlers,
you could make Zion your power forward with one guy. Okay. Yeah, if you have one tall guy and spread the floor.
But who would excel? Who would translate better their
Depends
game?
on what type of team you are.
Well, you're gonna Zion's
going to fit on any team.
So look at the top. You don't think Ja will be on any? Look at the top 3 teams, the top 4 or 5 teams. The next, you already know, the Cavs, the Bulls, the Suns, the Hawks. Do you not think that Ja Morant can excel with any?
I think he can absolutely. 6'3", 175. Can you imagine him and
Trae Young together?
Ball handler.
Can you imagine him and Trae Young together?
I don't know how.
Can you imagine that?
I don't like it. 2 ball-centric guards.
But you said it too. When you watched him, and we watched the highlights, what did you think more of him? What type of player was he?
I see Russell Westbrook type athleticism, but I see Lonzo Ball passing. He had 16 assists yesterday. Second highest total he had all season.
But he had 18 against the University. So why do you not think he can excel with the Hawks?
Because they're both point guards.
I mean, you can have 2 guys like that in your backcourt. You don't think that would be a nice duo to have if you're an Atlanta fan? That's a nice duo.
I'd rather have Zion.
Okay. Speaking of the Knicks, because we are from the New York area, the New Haven area, and we talk New York sports, I know Knicks fans are eagerly excited about this upcoming offseason because while they might have the number 1 pick, they could have Kevin Durant, they could have Kyrie Irving. But what if the Knicks didn't get the number 1 pick? We're so eager to see the Knicks get the number 1 pick, and so
because you want Mount Zion. No, but we're almost the Knicks, the market media capital of the world with the biggest name. Think about that's why it's always been prepared LeBron in New York. It was always
but we're almost already prepared for it. Like he's going to be a shoo-in to be the number 1 pick.
No shoo-in.
What if they didn't get the number 1 pick? What if they got the number 2 pick? And I asked the Knicks fans, Would you not be happy?
I think if they got Ja Morant, or
would they be ecstatic about not having him as your point guard of the future?
I think
team him up with maybe a Kevin Durant and him and Kevin Durant.
Oh no, I
think
think they would be very happy with that. They would finally get the point guard position right because Frank Ntilikina never panned out. They don't really have a point guard now. Right now, Dennis Smith Jr. is out right now with a back injury. That and as a basketball fan and as a player. And as anybody, you never want to hear back injury of any type of sort.
Yeah.
Especially at that age. I'm
just curious. It's like,
I don't think Morant would be a bad number 2. And I don't think RJ Barrett, if you got the 3rd pick, would be a bad pick either. I think you want to get into that 1, 2, 3 picks because I think there's a big drop off once you go to 4, 5, and 6. There is literally 3 legit, I think, caliber all-star players coming out in this draft. And it's RJ Barrett, it's the kid Morant, and then Zion easily. I think those are your star players.
Is this like the 2003 draft class all over again? LeBron being
that was 5. That was 5 deep.
But I'll do the top. LeBron being a Zion.
Darko was number 2 and was supposed to be the next.
Melo being an RJ Barrett and or Chris Bosh and a Ja Morant being a Dwayne Wade. Can you see the similarities?
I mean, absolutely. You can make the argument on that. Westbrook was the 4th pick. Wasn't Westbrook the 4th pick?
I'm just curious as Knicks fans because we're so hell-bent on saying they're going to get Zion Williamson as their next guy. But would you be happy? Would you be satisfied?
You'd have to be satisfied to get one of those 3 guys.
But Knicks fans, as a New York fans, we know that it's been dark days for New York teams.
Ideally, you would want Zion. Of course, who would not want Zion?
All you see is the brand. But Ja Morant, if you got the number 2 pick and you had the chance to take him, and that was your guy for the next 10 to 12 years,
my question:
you're not going to be. You're not.
Giants got the number 1 pick last year. Would they have taken Saquon Barkley number 1?
I think they were hell bent on taking the.
Do you think the Giants would have taken? And I know that's totally off the thing, but
they were hell bent on doing it.
I think the Knicks case should be happy with either the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd.
No, they need the second top 2 pick. They need to get a top 2 pick because there is. I don't see
RJ Barrett and Kyrie and Durant would not be a bad 1, 2, 3.
A good player. I think he'll be a solid player in the league. I do not think he will be a Zion or a Ja Morant.
But I could see him being an 18-9 guy all day long. Kyrie with the ball, RJ Barrett on one wing, 6'7", 6'8" with Kevin Durant. RJ Barrett can play off the ball, high pick and roll.
So I'm curious, Knicks fans. Would you be happy if you had the 2nd pick, you didn't get Zion, but you got Ja Morant? How would you feel about that? If I'm a Knicks fan, I'd be pretty ecstatic because you see the way the NBA is translating now to point guards, 2 guards. That's what the game is all about.
Explosive.
I mean, it's explosive, and those are the 2 most explosive players we've seen in recent memory with Ja Morant and Zion.
You look at what Houston's doing with James Harden. It's similar to what Murray State does with Ja Morant. Harden's become almost a point guard. I know he's a shooting guard, but he really is the point guard. And everything runs through him. High pick and roll with Clint Capella and 4 shooters. And it's kind of the way Murray State plays the game. Same type of game. Everything runs through Morant as the point guard. High pick and rolls. Let him do his thing. Teams double him, and he looks for shooters and cutters.
But that's what makes him so great. Those 2 players.
And that's what the NBA is becoming. It's not a let's slow the ball down. Let's 1-1-1-1-1.
Yeah.
Pick, pass the ball over here. No, it's high pick and roll, explosive players that can beat their defensive players, cutters and shooters. That's what LeBron plays. LeBron looks for the same thing. What does he ask for? He wants shooters. He's always asked ball-centric guard, high pick and roll, explosive guards who can kick it out to shooters. The biggest problem with Russell Westbrook is he doesn't want to pass the ball enough.
You know what makes these 2 guys so much better than RJ Barrett and guys like that? Because we watched defenders, 2, 3 defenders on him.
Still can't stop him.
Those 2, the Knicks have to hope. Yes, if they don't get the number 1 pick, it would suck for Knicks fans. But if you could get the 2nd pick, boy, you could get a very, very, very good player in Ja Morant.
Absolutely.
You're listening to Keys of the City right now. You can follow us at YouTube as well, Instagram, and Twitter, Keys of the City. Let's close out with today's games now. Yesterday's games are over with. We are into the...
Can I just ask you before you do
As
that?
you may.
You know I always... Do you have any other takeaways other than him significant teams, upsets?
My biggest surprise is the way Wofford won last night, because I thought that would, and I said that this might be the toughest game to pick in the entire first round, just because the way Seton Hall was coming into the tournament. They were a hot team, and so was Wofford. Wofford was a 7 seed. Wofford probably should have been a 5 seed, maybe a 4 seed. They're that good. But the way that they finished off Seton Hall was very impressive. And that Kentucky-Wofford game, I know everybody's high on Kentucky and saying, hey, they're going to get to the national
Washington
championship.
is out for this weekend. That's a big loss for
Don't
them.
be surprised if Wofford, who already beat North Carolina early on this year.
No, they lost to them at home by 3.
They did?
Yes.
They lost? Okay, thank you.
I remember reading that
Thank you.
in the paper.
Don't be surprised if Wofford beat the Wildcats tomorrow. Just saying, this is a very talented team. This Wofford team could go very
The
far.
three ball makes you dangerous.
And that's why I like them. Because when they get the ball, they don't pass. They don't wait. They're not hesitant. They get the ball and they shoot. And that's what you got to do. You got to shoot. Like we always say in hockey, shoot the puck. Shoot the puck. You got to do this. That's what Wofford is great at, and that's what they excel at, and that's why they could go far in this, because they shoot, and they shoot well. So that's my other biggest takeaway from yesterday was Wofford pretty much dominating in the final 4 minutes of that game against a very talented and good Seton Hall team. Very surprising.
Mine is the lack of upsets. I know your word yesterday when Uncle Tom is madness. There wasn't much madness. The 3 upsets, and they really weren't upsets, was Florida, the 10-7 over Nevada.
You went against your own damn team. What kind of fan do you call yourself?
I was a win-win, I said last night. I picked Nevada. If Nevada wins, I win in my bracket.
How
Florida
do you
wins,
pick against your team?
Because I went with the smart pick because I'm trying to win my bracket.
Florida's a good team, bro.
Yeah, but they were young with their guards, and I thought the two Caleb Martin brothers,
I should have picked
twin
Florida.
brothers in Nevada, they would be on redemption after last year.
I liked them so much I didn't pick them.
The Murray State 12-5, and there was and the Minnesota 10-7 but that was the only 3 upsets. You look at New Mexico State, Belmont, Yale, Bradley, and St. Mary's all had opportunities yesterday to take down teams, and they did not. So there really wasn't that many upsets. You and me both had Belmont going to the Sweet 16. That hurt our bracket.
That was a tough one.
They had an opportunity to beat Maryland yesterday. So no big upsets really yesterday. No, I don't look at the 12-5 because it's almost natural every year for.
So I'm going to ask you
12-5 now.
So the Thursday game's over.
Yes, sir.
Half of the brackets, there's 32 teams. 16 of them are already in. Let's complete round 1 today. So Ted, I'll give you the schedule. Currently, there's a game on right now.
Well, I got it right
okay,
here.
well, currently the game's on right now. You got Cincinnati and Iowa, followed by Oklahoma Ole Miss, Texas Tech versus Northern Kentucky, UC Irvine, Kansas State, Colgate, Tennessee, Gardner-Webb, Virginia, Arizona State, Buffalo, Oregon, Wisconsin, Washington, Utah State, North Dakota State and Duke, Georgia State, Houston, Liberty, Mississippi State, Iona, North Carolina, UCF, VCU, Ohio State, Iowa State, and the last one, St. Louis versus Vatech. So you look at all those.
Did you just read me Biaggetti's menu? No.
I could go for a nice Biaggetti's right now.
So
what game are you, after reading all those games, what game excites you, gets you?
Well, I'll give you 2 games.
There you go.
First of all, I'll start with the one that I have. It's the 12-5 upset again. That's Oregon over Wisconsin. That's a big game. I have Oregon going to the Sweet 16 to face Virginia. That's a matchup I'm really looking to see. Wisconsin's defense, they play great defense. Their one question mark is free throw shooting. They are not a good free throw shooting team. Oregon has been hot lately. 8-game win streak. They won the Pac-12 tournament. That's what got them into the tournament, or else they would not be in the tournament. They've been winning by an average of almost 17 points a game.
That would really be another.
So if I can get that 12-5 Oregon matchup, that's at what time today?
4:30.
4:30. That's a big matchup. And then, of course, the UC Irvine Kansas State game. That's the 4:13. Kansas State is going to be out with one of their best players, Dean Wade. Their big man is out with a foot injury. UC Irvine, they've never won in the tournament. They have a veteran team. This team could score. They play good defense. They shoot the ball well. Could that be the upset of the day, the 4-13?
Maybe we'll see.
I don't see any 1s, 2s, or 3s going down today. I really don't. I see the 1 seeds blowing all their teams out today. I think North Carolina, Virginia, Duke easily win by 20-some points. I see the 2 seeds rolling today. I see North Carolina rolling, Kentucky. I don't see any question marks with those. But the ones I'm looking at is the 5-12 Oregon, Wisconsin, and as I said, the 4-13 matchup UC Irvine versus Kansas State.
I just want to see
those are the two big exciting games, and I think the Liberty Mississippi State, the 5-12. I think when you have those 5-12,
I just want to see.
Those are the games I'm looking for. I think do you think more upsets today? Than
I just want to see more competitive games. There was some good games, but there were a lot of blowouts yesterday. There were games and a lot of people thought Kansas was going to get upset by Northeastern. Kansas had their biggest win in tournament history yesterday. I mean, they crushed it. They destroyed Northeastern. And that was a team that has dealt with injury right now. They just destroyed them. I'm hoping that there's better games. I'm hoping that there is a couple upsets. Well, I do have...
Yesterday was a slow day for madness.
I do need two big upsets today. I do need Oregon, and I do need UC Irvine. I have them in every one of my brackets, so I need that 12-13 matchup. Obviously, Duke is playing tonight. I'm excited to see Zion play in his first NCAA tournament game. They should win big.
Rest them.
I want to see this Oregon-Wisconsin game because Oregon's coming in hot. They're the champs of the Pac-12. Wisconsin's a tricky team. They like to slow it down. Ethan Happ. You know how Wisconsin, it's like football with them.
Ground and pound.
Slow the game down. They play to their style, and teams don't know how to handle it. Oregon plays great defense. This is a very, very tricky game to pick because Wisconsin's too inconsistent. What kind of Wisconsin team are you going to get?
And the same thing in Oregon. Oregon has gone through two different. They were a top 10 team in the beginning of the season. Then they fell off in the middle of the season.
It's a tricky game.
And then they've been on this great 8-game win streak and blowing everyone out, playing great defense.
And St. Louis, Virginia Tech is another one. Virginia Tech gets their best player back. Justin Robinson comes back. I think
that's big.
Which is huge. But St. Louis is a good team. So
I don't. I see that game Virginia Tech dominating.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. Getting their best player back. They play great defense. They're a top 25 defense. Virginia Tech. They shoot the ball very well at the 3-point line. This is a Virginia Tech team that I see definitely going to the Sweet 16 and facing Duke. I like this Virginia Tech team. This is a scary team. They've already proved that they can beat Duke. I know Zion wasn't there, but now they're having their best player back. This is a scary team. This is a scary, scary team that can make a deep run if they get hot.
It's going to be interesting. We'll see if the brackets, he's getting ready. As you can see, Joe Aguirre will be joining us talking some baseball. Everybody, good luck in day 2 of the NCAA tournament. The fun has already started. Cincinnati and Iowa are currently playing. We will be right back talking baseball with the fan favorite Joe Aguirre. Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. We'll be right back, folks.
What are we doing on time? 27 minutes. Perfect. 25 minutes. So we do about 40 minutes of this one. So they signed Gio Gonzalez.
Yeah, we're talking about that. Talking about the league concerns. Even though there's not, I'm going to ask you why.
A lot of injuries. You see, Joe, so it'll be Gardner and center they're talking about.
You want sports?
Right.
We've got sports. Here on Keys to the City. Brought to you by All Noise Radio. Here's your host, Trevor and Ted.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Keys to the City from All Noise Radio, joined by the fan favorite, Joe Aguirre, the host of the Roll Call. How you doing?
I'm doing
Everything's
excellent.
good. It's been a while. It's been a little while.
It has been.
But baseball's picking up.
Baseball has a way of keeping itself out of the headlines. And then when they're in the headlines, it's for the wrong reasons.
But they did a pretty good job this weekend in officially making Mike Trout. Remember we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and we said, oh, no, Mike Trout won't take that big of a deal. Well, I guess I was more off.
Well, it's not that he was going to say no.
Well,
Isn't it nice, though, to see the best paid player in a sport being the highest paid player in that sport?
He blew it out of the water.
It just makes sense.
But, yeah, it makes sense, but
it's smart by the Angels to jump on it now, not even wait 2 years. They did the same thing last time. It just speaks volume, I think, to who Trout is as a baseball player, to sign the extension, not wait for free agency, do it 2 years both times early, and he still got the money he deserved each time.
But yes, we all talk about these great things, Mike.
Now he's got to
well-deserving.
win something.
I mean, if there's a player, that deserves a magnitude of that contract, it's Mike Trout.
The problem is baseball players have the least. One player has the least amount of impact on the team as a whole. On basketball, one player can take a team and carry it, as we've seen before. Even football. Defensively, you saw Lawrence Taylor. What he did to the Giants was, I believe, 84 when he won his first Defensive Player of the Year. It was 84, though, the year before. He literally took the Giants to the playoffs that first
Well, that's
year
why he's
because of
that's
who
why
he
he's
was.
the greatest defensive player of all
Quarterbacks,
time.
certain players. I mean, certain positions in football, but soccer. One baseball player, though, it's so hard to be that impactful.
Well, pitching is everything in baseball.
Yeah,
It's like
and you could pitch around a hitter.
It's the backbone.
Yeah.
Barry
It's the backbone
Bonds
to winning a championship is pitching. Everybody wants to say baseball is so irrelevant because it's boring, it's long. But this contract shows why baseball is irrelevant. Because where are the biggest names in baseball? San Diego, the Phillies, the Angels.
Was that bad though?
It makes them irrelevant though, because nobody. Was
LaDainian Tomlinson not one of the top NFL players for years?
Yes,
I mean, he was in San Diego. That worked out all right.
but we were always talking about Brady, the Patriots.
Yeah, but San Diego's
Peyton Manning.
kept itself irrelevant because they haven't been able to get a guy like Machado.
Are we gonna remember Manny Machado and say they continue to be bad, and Manny Machado puts up great numbers? Are we gonna be like?
Before Robbie Cano got traded to the Mets, did you kind of forget he was still in baseball?
That's what I'm trying to say. Like he went.
I knew about
these
You
great,
kind of forget he's even there
these
because
great
he's
players.
basically irrelevant in Seattle.
That's what I'm trying to say is that these great players, some of the best players in all of baseball,
But that's on-
go to markets, small markets that people are like, oh, he went to San Diego.
See, I think it's tough to compare it to basketball, football, just because the games are so much more popular on ESPN. Because what are they showing? If you're Kyle Murray in Arizona, you're going to be shown every Sunday highlights because it's football highlights and you're Kyle Murray.
Right.
It's going to be hard to see it at 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's what I'm trying to say.
When the Angels
Who's
are
going
playing
to
on
be
the West
watching
Coast.
the Angels? Who's going to be watching the Padres in this area?
I think Harper's the only one that did well with that. He's going to be playing in Philadelphia. You're going to be playing against the NL East, so you're going to be playing against the Mets. You're going to be playing against the Nationals. You're going to be playing against
more West Coast. We're not going to see of that. We're not going to be able to see Trout.
I don't think the Anaheim
Machado.
Angels or the San Diego Padres really care about what the East Coast thinks. Because if I'm in San Diego, I'm trying to win San Diego.
What did the Angels just signed a $300 million TV contract or $3 billion TV contract out there? So there was a number, and I sent you the article the other day that Mike Trout is worth, what the guy say, $700 million? That's what his value is to the Anaheim Angels, their TV contract.
Anaheim Angels.
Well, I'm still so used to calling them the Anaheim.
That's been a long
Los Angeles.
The Los Angeles Angels of
Los Angeles,
Orange County. What are they now?
But that's
whatever.
But that's why baseball is put in such a gets a bad rap because these great players.
You want to win. Listen, if you're playing baseball in San Diego and you're not the preferred sport during the summer on TV. That isn't going to help the value of your
if they're
network.
good, it's a win. But the problem is when you're the fourth best team in your division, that doesn't help. I'm sorry. Be the number one team in the West Coast like the old days when they had Bartolo Colon and Garrett Anderson and Tim Salmon and all those other guys. They were relevant. They were good.
But they were still.
But listen, if you're not going to be number one, you got to at least have. You're going to have guys that people are going to want to come out and see.
And they have guys.
Every kid in San Diego's new favorite player is Manny Machado.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
That's your favorite player, and it's going to be for the next 10 years.
We're spoiled on the East Coast because you go along from Boston to New York to Philly. You go right down to Washington Nationals. You're spoiled with the I-95 corridor, the big markets.
Even if one of those
it's always been that way.
The Cubs, though. It would feel just so much bigger.
Of course it would be.
Because it's the Cubs. It's in the Midwest.
Listen, if Trout was playing for the Dodgers or the Giants, it'd be bigger.
Like you see
but that's just the way it is.
Did you know John Lester won 18 games for the Cubs last year? He was 18-5.
He was 18-5?
18-5. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
But I think
I remember in 2016 they won a World Series. I was aware. I sort of forgot John Lester even exists.
I just think
but it's different with a pitcher and a guy like John Lester compared to Mike Trout, Manny Machado, and Harper.
Listen, they don't show highlights of baseball players, though.
Chicago's a big market.
Yes, 100%.
And you guys know me. The idea that I would forget or even realize that John Lester is still a really good baseball player speaks volumes about how little attention I pay to the Midwest. Anything that you just pointed out, Ted, right along the I-95 corridor, that's where it's at. That's our time zone. That's basically America's time zone.
Can I tell you how boring I am in this sense? I probably watched...
You're finally coming out with the truth?
Just be quiet. I probably watched... No lie. at least 120 Yankee baseball games last year. Probably minimum. I'm telling you. Probably closer to 140, but I didn't want to sound like I watched everything. But between work and my phone and being at home, I probably watched over 120 Yankee games. After that, it's like hockey. I don't care about any of the other 30 teams. I don't. Like, I care about the Rangers. I don't watch hockey other than the Rangers. But I don't watch. I'm sorry, but I don't watch the Red Sox Astros game. You know what I do? Hold on. Let me finish my thought.
Okay.
When I watch basketball, I don't know a damn player except for the kid Cumberland on Cincinnati, Iowa, but I watch college basketball. I don't care because I see the matchups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if Arizona Cardinals are playing Monday Night Football against the Jets. Do I really care? No, but because I love football, I'm watching the game. If the Astros and San Francisco Giants are playing on Sunday Night Baseball, I'm not watching. I'm probably putting a movie on or watching a TV show with my girlfriend. I don't
Is that
care.
the same for the NBA though? With you?
NBA, I'm probably watching the NBA game. If there's a better NBA game,
that's what I'm trying to say is that
NBA and basketball, I'll watch anything. I watch the Yankees. So I'm sorry, but the Angels are playing on Sunday Night Baseball. I'm not tuning in to watch Mike Trout.
But that's what I'm trying to
hit 3 times.
But that's what I'm trying to make my
unless
point.
someone goes, the first 2 at-bats, he's hit 2 home runs. He's got a chance in the 6th inning and hit his 3rd. Then I'm tuning in.
But that's what my point is that you'll watch the NBA. You'll even watch hockey.
College football, I watch.
You'll watch
my girlfriend
football,
she
but
goes,
you won't watch baseball.
She goes, who are you rooting for?
That?
I go, I don't care.
Because the marketing of their stars is
the marketing
worse
of stars
even worse than hockey.
poor.
It's probably worse
Listen,
than hockey.
In football, you can double team a wide receiver. But that frees somebody else up to have a day.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to shut down a single guy. In basketball, you can double team. You can make sure that whenever that guy gets the ball down low, you double team him. Maybe somebody hits 8 threes in the game because of that. In baseball, I can pitch around Mike Trout. You don't even see a strike anywhere near the plate.
Even with the 2 guys that they have on the team, with Albert Pujols and
Justin Upton.
Thank you very much. I knew you were going to.
I can
and
easily
Shohei
work
Ohtani. Don't
around
forget
that
about
and make
Ohtani.
him irrelevant on Sunday evening.
Because this is not Pujols of 8 years now. If this was Pujols, and I mean,
this is Pujols of old, yes.
Oh my God!
Who's the 3
They would
biggest
make
stars
the
in baseball?
playoffs.
Who's the 3 biggest stars in baseball?
the 3 guys that just got signed: Harper, Trout, and Machado.
Maybe
It's-
Judge or Mookie? Would you
It's
add in?
definitely, I think Trout, Judge, and Betts. I think those are the big 3 in the game.
Kershaw
right
would be up there.
now. If he was healthy, yeah.
I'd say Harper's still one of the big. It's Harper. It's like the name. It's just the name. Bryce Harper.
So are we talking? Now
Manny
you guys
Machado.
distinguish this. Are we talking name? Or are we talking player? Because
Harper's
Joe's
a villain.
Because I think
So is
Harper's a
Machado.
bigger name than Betts, but Betts is a much better baseball player.
Bigger name. Not
Big
talking about.
smile.
Not
Big numbers, big personality, likable guy.
And he's in Boston.
Everybody loves Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Says all the right things. Big
he's also
smile,
on the-
nice guy. Everybody loves Mike Trout. Just an all-around, all-American guy, awesome dude.
Then Harper and
People love
then
him.
Harper and Machado 4 or 5. Then.
Harper and Machado.
People don't like Harper. They don't like Machado.
But they're
5
bigger
years
names.
ago, Buster Posey was the guy.
Yeah.
Right?
But they're-
Catcher. He could hit forever.
Yeah,
give
like
you home runs.
three World Series in 5 years.
And everybody liked the guy.
Oh yeah.
Bryce Harper and Manny Machado would have gotten their money much earlier.
So that's A-Rod.
if
That's
they
the
were
A-Rod. Manny
better
Machado and
people.
Harper are
But they were
A-Rod.
just a
Correct.
big, but they were a bigger name.
Derek
I'm
Jeter
not
is
saying
Mike
they're better
Trout.
play-
Anti-hero. That's
I'm not
straight
saying
up
they're
what
better
it is.
players like Judge and Betts, but I'm saying just they're a bigger name.
From a marketability standpoint, I disagree. Again, if
because they're playing for the Yankees and the
correct
and the Red Sox.
If Aaron Judge and
Was
Mookie
on the
Betts
Cincinnati
were free
Reds.
agents right now, those 2 guys would have gotten paid. They would have gotten contracts by December.
Would Judge be a huge name if he was on the Cincinnati Reds?
Yes. He puts up great numbers. He's a good-looking guy. And again, he says all the right things all the time.
But so does Trout.
Yes,
And
that's why
he doesn't.
and that's
get-
why Trout got paid.
But we really don't ever really talk about him. He's a great
hold
player.
on. Well, and that happens a lot with
That's what I'm
Aaron
trying to
Judge.
say is that-
you start to take Aaron. I mean, last year, what did everybody spend the bulk of the time talking about the Yankees about?
Stanton and
Stanton sucks. Stanton's not good enough. Stanton. Meanwhile, until he got hurt, Judge was putting up another MVP season, and nobody noticed it because they were so focused in on Stanton.
struggles.
And why? Because Aaron Judge just is like Derek Jeter. He just says the right thing.
He's boring, but he
very
just does his
smooth.
job.
Yeah,
on
he's
a
like
daily
Eli
basis.
and Jeter. That's why they've been so successful in New York.
Those guys
They go about their
Those
business the right
guys
way.
always get paid.
Always.
The knock on, look, Manny Machado's not lazy. Manny Machado's not dirty. Manny Machado had some bad instances on national TV at important points. I was watching a basketball game yesterday. I think it was, God, I don't remember the game now. Dude missed a dunk.
Okay.
They ended up losing by 6. But
was it the Yale game?
No, it wasn't the Yale game.
There was a lot of those. There's a couple guys who missed. It was a dunk.
It doesn't matter. It was towards last night. It was a bucket they needed. It was a gimme, and he just missed the dunk.
Left-handed dunk, and he missed.
Yeah. When that happens, man, oh.
Damn. I forgot.
Especially in these games.
That's no good. Yeah. Well, everything in the nationally televised
and
games
Stan always seemed to come up
scrutinized.
Well, I'll bring it up, and I remember there was one year where it felt like every time there was 2 strikes or 2 outs, man on third, down 1, and A-Rod would be up. Remember that year?
Yeah.
It was like 12 opportunities, and he kept
popped out a lot.
Popped out or missed opportunities.
Strike out.
And that was the same thing with Stanton last year. A lot of missed opportunities, and that's why he got jumped on so many times.
Here's the thing about Stan. There you go. And
I'm glad we're bringing the Yankees up because that was what we're going to go.
We're not going to talk about Aaron Judge right now. We're going to talk about Stanton, as always. And that's unfortunate. But listen, the reason why Stanton had more opportunities to fail last year was because he always came up in those spots. Yeah. He was in a lot of those spots because of what a good player he is. He certainly delivered at times. You really magnify the times when you fail.
We are fans want him to succeed every time. They think he expects to hit a base hit every time he comes up.
Again, I talk about the Mariano Rivera effect. Anytime a closer gives up a run, you're like, send that bum to the minors. He sucks. And it's like, he's a relief pitcher. They have ERAs in the mid-2s. They pitch an inning at a clip.
And they get paid to strike a guy out. That's what
everybody has a bad day.
It happens. But again, everything gets
Michael
magnified.
Jordan had days where he didn't score 10 points. It happened. We are very few, but it happened.
Few and far between. It's life. But
shut it.
Nobody ever judged him for those occasional poor. You'd let that slide. And nowadays, we blow everything out of proportion.
That's true.
All the time.
But now the great Yankee players have to win something.
We are Keys to the City.
To take it to that next
level.
You
are listening to Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. We are with the host of the Roll Call, Joe Aguirre. And I'm glad you've been
got a great podcast on the Yankees. So if you are a Yankee fan,
if you're a diehard Yankee fan, he's got a great.
All he does is talk about Yankee baseball. If for you Red Sox fans,
if you can't get enough of Yankee,
you can call in and just tell him how much he's wrong.
If you can't get enough of Yankee talk, then go check out the Roll Call as well. So since we're talking about the Yankees and we shifted over to that, there's some concerns right now. I know that I just saw your little article you posted.
I literally wrote an article,
and I'm gonna get right to it.
Yeah.
Did you have the piece of paper with the injuries?
I'm gonna ask. I do have the names, but. It's growing. The list is growing.
Injury bug.
Why do you say, are you not concerned? Why do you think that?
Depth has always been important in baseball. Last year, the most amount of players in Major League history got time in the big leagues.
1,379 last year.
That is so depth isn't an issue anymore. I was talking to Ted earlier this morning before you guys started doing the show. Why am I going to pay Neil Walker $5 million to come be on my team if I could pay Tyler Wade $660,000?
A younger, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is Walker a better hitter? Yeah. Is Wade maybe faster and a little bit of a better defender? Yeah. So what's the trade-off? I'm going to get a 250 batting average and 10
$4 million. $4 million.
As opposed to... a 230 average with 200.
They're about the same thing. They're about the same guy. Only differences of age and $4 million.
Right. $4 million. We're not going to pay middling veterans anymore when we don't have to. Why would anybody do that? There's plenty of. You've got guys in the minors. One of the things I remember about the Red Sox from about 2000 through last season is whenever the Red Sox had an injury, they would just plug some kid in from Pawtucket, and he'd be a star.
Sounds like the Patriots.
It
must be the Boston way.
It's something in the water.
It's got to be with Boston or something.
It just seems they brought up Pedroia. They brought up Euclid. They brought up, everybody, Betts.
Mueller.
Every one of these guys, you bring them up and they just do well. And
you think about all the guys now, Devers, Bogarts.
Jackie Bradley.
Look at the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Benintendi. Andrew Benintendi.
They're catcher Vasquez.
Look at the Yankees starting 9 right now. Stanton. He's not in, but Gregorius
is out.
And Aroldis Chapman. Other than that, all the major players on the Yankees are homegrown talent.
And Hicks.
Look at the rest.
Yeah.
and Hicks.
No, I know, but it's like out of 9, there's 4 guys. It's like more than half the team, 6 guys.
The majority of the Yankees roster is making peanuts because they're kids that came up through the system.
homegrown.
The Sanchez, Bird,
Yeah,
Voit,
but how did they win in
Glaber.
'96?
All
Voit got traded to the Yankees.
It doesn't matter. He still came through the system.
Their main core, like it was in '96, were homegrown. Andy Pettit, Jorge Posada, go through the list. Bernie Williams, they were all homegrown players that came through the Yankee system. The majority of their team, they had key pieces in veteran spots. Such like this team. Chapman, the closer, is a veteran piece. Stanton's the power hitter they brought in, like they brought in Darryl Strawberry and Chili Davis and all those other guys.
Role players.
But
Great
Judge,
role players.
Didi, Glaber, and Duhar, most of those guys that they have, even in the bullpen, Betances are all guys from their farm system.
Okay, so all these guys are injured. Is there a guy that you're most concerned? Out of the guys that are,
I know who I am.
I think it's pretty. It's
got to be your ace.
It's got to be
There's
Severino,
2
right?
guys I am concerned about, and I was about Severino. I'm no longer. Severino, as of yesterday, feels good. He's been throwing.
But
Look, everybody has shoulder inflammation from time to time. Again, everybody wonders what happened to this guy last year. He hit a brick wall, started tipping pitches. He was he had, you're talking about back-to-back 200-inning seasons for a guy who's 25 years old now. That's a kid right there. That's a kid who had been pitching half seasons 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
I mean, I'm older
now
than
he's
him.
pitching 200. So you're telling me having Severino's first start be May 1st or May 5th or May 8th? And his peak comes now in July,
October,
and not late June. I'll take that. I would rather see. So I feel Severino says he's fine. They checked his shoulder. There's no major problem there. We're good to go.
so who's the guy then?
Aaron Hicks. I love Aaron Hicks. When everybody wanted Aaron Hicks run out of town in 2016, I was on board. I think the kid's got great. I'm glad he's
got great talent.
He does.
Skill.
Finally came through last year with a big year.
Can't stay on the
The
field.
back, no good. He's also in obliques guy. He gets those a lot.
Joe, you know what it reminds me of?
Joe, you're no good if you're not on the field. As
Remember, Joe, you know what
correct.
it reminds
I'm
me
no good. And they just gave him a huge
And I
contract.
love the contract they gave him, but my hope was he was going to stay healthy.
I would have liked to see 3. I would have seen like 3 or 4 years, but
7 years.
I mean, like you said, whatever, it's $10 million. I know for what the value for other guys. Here's my thing. If you know anything about Tiger Woods is one of the hardest trainers in the world. He does Navy SEAL training. And when you play golf, you don't want to be. If you know anything about Aaron Hicks, if you read about Aaron Hicks, his workouts are the legit, real deal. I think he's too jacked.
Well, Luis Severino came to Camp Jack this year. In best shape of his life. He's very bulked up.
But
and now he's got
I got a buddy of mine,
shoulder injury.
my buddy Frankie. I tell you, my wrist is probably bigger than his shoulder. But when he throws the ball, it's like a whip action.
Yeah.
I lift 120-pound dumbbells, but guess what? I can't throw the ball harder than him. You don't have to have big upper body strength.
Listen, I don't work out at all. I don't know if you could tell or not.
We can only see from chest up.
No shoulder problems here at all.
This camera only shows from the chest up. So
Perfect. Well, it's pretty thin down here. You just can't tell that.
That's why he's wearing the sweater. But no. But legitimately, I think Aaron Hicks works out too hard. And I think his body is too... That's why you always see oblique, because he's too muscular.
That's why if you're going to work out like that, you have to do steroids.
Do you think they?
Unfortunately,
it's true. Do you think they signed him too soon to a contract of that? To a contract that 7? You look at that. That's the thing. The 7 years. The $70 million's fine, but 7 years.
Ellsbury's coming back, boys.
Oh, did you just say the E word?
Thank goodness.
Did you just say the
Thank goodness, because the depth is such an issue.
Did you just say the J-E word? No. Do you think the Yankees gave him too soon of a contract?
Hicks, no.
No.
It was definitely too long. We've talked about this, but the average value is incredible. And look, if this thing turns out he's fine, he's going to start swinging in the next day or two. If he can swing, he can play, and he's going to be fine.
They said April 1st he's going to be on the non-injury disabled list, so his first eligibility will be April 1st, which will be 7 games in. They start off with the Orioles and the Tigers, the 2 worst teams in baseball possibly.
Yes.
The 6 of their first month, they don't really play anyone tough. They have 3 games against Houston and 2 in Boston. Other than that, they have a very soft April schedule. They get a lot of the young guys to pitch early. CeCe's not going to come back till May. If he can be extended because of this, that's big. Severino, you don't want, like Joe said, you don't want this lingering. I worry a little bit about Betances. He had some trouble during training camp, and now
It's a good thing they got so much depth in the bullpen.
Again,
that's
because
the key.
they have depth, I'm less. The Yankees can go a month without Dellin Betances. They're going to be fine. This rotation without Severino is still pretty good. You're still going to win more games than you'll lose with this. Look, Paxton, Happ, and Tanaka. You know what I'm saying? That's a good 3 right there. If we got to go with an opener and you got Greeny going a couple innings or Holder to start, I'm all right with that.
And they signed Gio Gonzalez, and they also have Luis Cessa, who can't go down to the minor leagues because then he would have to clear waivers. He's already maxed out down there. But they also got Domingo Germán. These guys have pitched before, so give them an early start. So what? Let's see what they got.
Let me ask you, on the roll call, you guys have obviously talked about the first base issue. What have you guys leaned towards? Have you guys leaned towards Voit, or are you Team Bird?
I am.
They're about to be both on the team.
We're very split on that. Listen, I like Greg Bird. I would love to see Greg Bird be healthy, and let's see what you can really do. Of
course.
It's never happened. Since you saw him in 2015, he was lightning in a bottle. He hasn't been on the field, so we don't know. Every year, when people preview the Yankees, if Bird's healthy, he might be the best hitter on the team. Look, right now, the better player is Luke Voit. Luke Voit should be at first base. It looked like it was going to be one or the other, and now with the injury to Wade, it looks like it could be both. I think if that is the case, I think Greg Bird should be the first baseman. Absolutely. Luke Voit should be the designated hitter.
Does that cause confusion then?
Not at all, because Bird
doesn't.
Stanton,
because you're going to need Stanton in left with Gardner in center and Judge in right to start this season off. So the DH spot's going to be open now.
Then where does that do with Frazier?
Clint Frazier is going to start the year at AAA. Definitely is going to need some more time. Now,
he needs to play. Aaron Boone has said he needs to play 7 days a week.
If he gets his legs under him, he starts hitting, he'll be up there in no time flat. The Yankees would really like that. Mm-hmm. I think if you had a scenario where Gardner's starting a couple times a week and Frazier's in there for the most part, and they also
Tyler Wade has also been talked about. He'll play center. Tyler Wade, that's a position they use him. They've also talked about putting Judge at center field. They can do things, and we talked about depth. The same thing that the Yankees faced last year. Brandon Drury was supposed to be the guy. He gets hurt. What happens? Miguel Andujar comes in and almost becomes the AL Rookie of the Year.
Shut up.
Gleyber Torres comes up late. You got depth. You got Tulowitzki.
You got depth, and you know what, Ted? Until you
and it's early. I literally last year games.
I was saying from the get-go, and Duhar and Torres, get them in there. Let's see what these guys are as good as they are. Just throw them out there. Mm-hmm. And look, I know that they sent them down to the minors just to kind of hold them down to the service time. It's a dirty move, but everybody does it now. I knew these guys were ready. And look, you stick them in there, you find out what you have for depth.
Yeah.
You take a guy from the minor leagues, you bring him up for a week. Here's what you're going to see. Someone who's overwhelmed or somebody who belongs. You'll see it in a week. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to hit 450 with 3 home runs that first week, but you know when a guy's having good at-bats, and you know when a guy is overmatched. We've seen Tyler Wade not look like a Major League Baseball player in the stints he's had with the big club. He hasn't looked Major League ready at the plate.
And the only advantage the
Yankees
that's an
have, issue.
And the advantage the Yankees have is, like you said, Joe, the depth. Their schedule in the first month of April is very weak based on
very favorable, yes.
Very favorable. Yes. They only play 2 teams that are really going to be tough. They play the AL Central below teams and the AL East. They play the Orioles 6 times. They play the Tigers. So, and
I expect good things in the first.
Listen, it's a 162 game season.
We know.
Unless the Red Sox start off at like 24-3 to start the month or something, which is not going to happen because after the 5th inning, when they're up 10-1, you're going to be like, all right, how do we end the game? Who's going to close the game out? You know what I mean? Who's going to close out the game? Because they better be up 10-1.
Might have to call this guy over here.
Because if you're Boston,
I'm always up for it.
You have to worry about that.
$500,000. Just give me $500,000.
And as we see,
I'll do it.
And as we see in April, everyone's still. No one is really playing true baseball.
But they're not.
April's like the preseason of NFL football. Not until like May when the weather gets warmer. And teams are still fully acclimated with their rosters and rotations and who's going to fit where and what position. that's when baseball really kicks in. So the Yankees have that month of rest, and their guys and starters will get that extra extended period to work on things.
By the way, this contract for Gio Gonzalez is fantastic. This is a guy that's 30 games over 500. He's averaged 31 starts per season for his career. He is 33 years old, but guess what pitch he worked on over the winter?
Cutter?
A cutter.
That's nice.
Could you find a better place to go if you're a guy that throws a cutter?
It's a minor league. It's a minor league deal. It works out perfect.
Get him with Mo at some point. I bet you an afternoon. By the way, $300,000 per start, up to 30 starts. He can make that contract could go to $9 million. So I love this contract because look,
it's a win-win. If he doesn't do nothing, you don't lose nothing.
Gio already says he's ready to go, and Booney said, I don't want to say no chance opening day roster, but he's probably not going to be on it. This guy says he's ready to go tomorrow. I love the attitude. Every time he pitches, if he wants to get another $300,000 up to $9 million, he knows he's got to go out there and pitch 5 or 6 good innings.
And it's another lefty too.
This could be a great move for the Yankees. And look, again, for $3 million,
he pitched
with an opt-out in
82 pitches
April.
the other day in a simulated game, so he's been pitching.
Only 6 days away.
Yeah,
opening day.
I'm so excited for it, man.
Here we go.
Are you just doing a Yankee preview show, or are you going to do like a baseball preview with
what's your game
coming up?
You
know, we're going to do a little preview, but I think we're going to
love to have you on for a preview show.
I would love to come on and do that.
Week.
Yeah, we'll focus mostly on the Yankees. We certainly talk. We'll probably expand it a little bit more just to get everybody kind of into. Well, we're going to be launching a Red Sox podcast soon.
Very good.
So we're excited about that. We have a lot of Red Sox fans that listen to the roll call. And we appreciate that because it's a weird thing for them to do. And again,
must be tough for them.
Well, we try not to be super homers. I think that helps, but there's been such a demand and such a loyalty from these Red Sox fans that we decided let's do a Red Sox podcast.
Well, they are the champions, so they deserve it.
They certainly deserve it. And listen, I like having people on the outside kind of look in and tell you what they see. Sometimes you need a set of eyes from the other camp.
Well, we'll be having you on next week. As you just heard, we'll be having a MLB preview show next week. That was the fan favorite Joe Aguirre, the host of the Roll Call podcast. Everybody, have a great weekend. We are Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. Enjoy NCAA March Madness. It's gonna get some craziness. I know there's craziness coming soon enough, right, Ted?
Absolutely. Sorry, I was turning my mic off. I'm doing 2 different things over here. Leave me hanging.
Did you do a bracket?
I didn't. Okay. Nobody asked me.
Oops. There's always ESPN tournament brackets. Just
or you
could have joined
that ambitious.
Or you could have joined ours that we have Keys to the City on ESPN. You could have joined our tournament pool.
I didn't see it until yesterday.
Yeah, I know, my fault. I waited till
I saw it yesterday, and I was like, I missed the playing game.
I should have put it up. But
everybody, enjoy March Madness. We are Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. Everybody, have a great weekend. We're out.
Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, topics, stipulations, first downplayed it. Presenting topics from Kanye, Yeezy to Tom Brady. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.